After beating Bloodborne with all 26 weapons, I needed to spice up my relationship with the game. And what better way than to beat Bloodborne as a pimp? With that said, let's get to the rules for this run. Rule number 1, cane only. I can only use the cane part of the threaded cane, so no whip. Also, I am a pimp in training, so no gun either. I must earn that right by becoming a true pimp. Rule number 2, skill only. Simply, I can only level skill and no other stats. Rule number 3, no vials. I cannot use vials to heal myself, but I can use rally to get my HP back. Rule number 4, no buffs. This means no beast blood pellets, paper, or hunter tools. This does not include upgrades, runes, or gems. For me, a buff is just a temporary boon to the player, like paper and beast blood pellets. Rule number 5, become a pimp. I must complete 4 tasks for this run. I must acquire a cane, I must find a pimp outfit, I must also find some nice ladies, and lastly, take over Yharnam by beating all the bosses. With all the rules out of the way, it's pimpin' time. I start off by naming my character Snoop Kane, since I am the apprentice to Snoop Dogg. For my class, I went with the Lone Survivor. I chose this because it has the highest vitality for survivability, and more importantly, the 420 echoes. With my character done, it's time to take to the streets of Yharnam to start my journey to pimphood. Upon the start of my journey, I met an old man who gave me a hit of that good. Oh yeah. Which gave me one hell of a psychedelic trip. Sperm with eyes, mouth, and teeth were not on my bingo card. Once I had awoken from my profound experience, I immediately broke out of the clinic and ran straight for the hunter's dream since I can't fight until I have my cane. Once in the dream, I acquired the threaded cane, completing my first task of becoming a true pimp. After getting my pimp cane, I make my way through the streets gathering upgrade materials to upgrade my cane to +1. With that done, it's time to take on my first challenge of this run, Daddy Gascoigne. But, unfortunately for him, there can only be one daddy of Yharnam, and that was going to be me. Daddy Gascoigne was not going to give up his title without a fight, and he sure did put up a fight. With not being able to use a gun or the whip of the threaded cane, it caused me more pain than I could even imagine. With Gascoigne being able to shoot me if I tried to do more than 3 consecutive hits, and his damn thrust attack, which for the life of me I couldn't get the hang of dodging, led me to dying 40 times. Now, I could have made this easier by leveling up, but my pimp pride wouldn't let me. I don't know why, but for some reason I had to beat him without leveling up. I was so stubborn, in fact, that I ended up losing 4,398 echoes. Gascoigne only drops 3,200. Was it worth it? Oh yeah. I was able to learn from this that you can backstab Gascoigne after he does his spin attack in phase 2 by just dashing behind him and immediately doing a charge R2. I also learned you can backstab his wolf form. Had no clue you could do that. The way I did it was after he did his jump attack was to dash under it and then immediately run back and do a charge R2. I was also told by chat you can do this after he does his long combo string, but I never successfully pulled it off. After learning all this, I put my new plan into action. Learn Gascoigne up top to not accidentally dash into a tombstone and die. Patiently wait for the right time to get a charge R2 off since this was safer than doing R1 combos. And lastly, kite his wolf form to the left to finally take down Daddy Gascoigne once and for all. He might have had me calling him Daddy in the beginning, but at the end he was calling me Daddy. With Gascoigne no more, I grabbed the Blood Gem Workshop tool, access to the Cathedral Ward, and finally level up my skill up to 16. Once done leveling, I complete my second task for this run by acquiring my new pimp outfit. Now I be styling. Oh my, I would tap that. Damn it, Scully. After running away from Scully, I gather some more bloodstone shards to get my cane to +3, and equip a temporary gem and red blood gem which I got off Gascoigne's wife's dead body. Don't worry, she won't be needing it anymore. Once done with that, I made my way through old Yharnam to the blood-starved beast. Every pimp's worst nightmare, a toxic woman. They will constantly lead you on, occasionally let you get some action, and then inject all their venom inside of you until you slowly die. Unfortunately, even if you defeat a toxic bitch, she can still have the last laugh if she bit ya. With the blood-starved beast defeated, I head to the abandoned workshop, gather some doll clothes, and pick up an umbilical cord. Back at the Hunter's Dream, I sell the doll clothes and use that money to level up my skill to 28. From here, I head to the Healing Church workshop, pick up some twin bloodstone shards, make my way back down to Lower Cathedral Ward, and take on Vicar Amelia. Damn, she be thick. After regaining my senses, I went into action. First round wasn't too bad against Amelia. I focused on limb breaks and going for viscerals, but sadly I made one too many mistakes and she finished me off with a well-timed backhand. Round 2 and 3 was a bit shorter. I swear this isn't normal. I usually last longer than this. Round 4 was much better with me getting 3 visceral attempts for me to just miss the last one because being inside her isn't good enough apparently to trigger the visceral. But lucky for me, I didn't need it to finish the job. And with that, Vicar Amelia goes down. After beating thick girl Amelia, I saw some smoke coming out of this wolf skull and knew what I had to do. Grabbed that shit and took the biggest hit of my life. Oh, yeah, that's it, right there. I had a weird dream about some old dude ranting about blood and realized maybe I shouldn't be using some giant wolf skull as a bong. Oh well. With that weird dream over with, I end up getting jumped while heading back to my crib and found myself in Yargul Unseen Village. While here, I pick up some more twinstone shards and meet my first lady friend. She wanted nothing to do with me at first, but once I told her I had my own crib, she immediately wanted to move in. With that done, I head back to the Hunter's Dream, level my skill up to 31, upgrade my cane to +5, equip the gold blood gem that I got from Amelia, and went back to Yargul to take on Dark Beast Parl. So, for Dark Beast Parl, I normally just DPS him down real quick, but that wasn't working for me this time around. As stated earlier, I'm pretty hard-headed, so I kept trying this for a while. 18 times to be exact. Until I finally got smart and decided to break each limb in a row, starting with the back left leg and working my way around while making sure to get the head break for a visceral attack. Sometimes it's best to stop being hard-headed and think of an actual plan before going in, and with that, Dark Beast Parl was no more. With the electric doggy put down, I heard of a rumor of 2 freaky witches in the woods looking for a good time. So I made my way over to find out it was 2 old hags. Well, beggars can't be choosers, so I thrusted them from behind until they couldn't take it anymore. And my reward for not being an ageist was the Rune Workshop tool. While in Hemwick Lane, I pick up a triangle tempering gem for later. After acquiring the gem, I head back to my original crib and level my skill up to 35. With that done, I heard there was a rabid dog loose among my streets, so I made sure to take it out as quickly as possible. It's not good for business if the streets aren't safe. With that problem taken care of, I heard there was a gang called the Shadows of Yharnam planning to jump me, so I decided to get the jump on them first. Sadly, it didn't go as planned. So after dying, I decided to be smart and make my cane stronger, so I picked up a Nourishing 2 triangle gem, grabbed the Canehurst letter, made my way to Canehurst. Once back at the Hunter's Nightmare, I upgrade my cane to +8 and equip the better gems. A Tempering 2 radial gem that I picked up right outside the Forbidden Woods, which I should have gotten way earlier, but yeah. And the Nourishing 2 triangle gem. And with that, I was ready for my rematch against the Shadows of Yharnam. Sadly, even with my improved cane, it did not improve my pimpin' skills. I ended up dying to them 5 times in total. At first, I tried lowering both the fire guy and the sword guy's health to half, but that just wasn't working out with me having low health. So I switched to just 1v1ing them, and that ended up working out much better in the end. After finishing off the Yharnam gang, I leveled up my skill to 40 and invited a granny and a young lady back to stay at my crib for safety, which leads to my 3rd task being complete, 1 step closer to pimphood. After talking to my new roommates, it was time for Rom, the vacuous spider. Rom wasn't too bad until I got ganked by one of her little shit children, and she got a meteor attack off on me. Lucky for me, the second time, her children didn't get in the way of me thrusting her. Afterwards, I heard the most terrifying thing in the world for a pimp, the sound of a newborn, which caused me to faint in worries of child support. After recovering from my panic attack, I ended up back at Yharnam, collected some trunks, upgraded my weapon to +9, leveled my skill up to 45, and with that, I was ready for the One Reborn. I ended up running into the same issues as I did with Parl. I found with my low health, just trying to DPS the One Reborn down just wasn't going to work, especially with his limbs having limbs that can hit you. It only took me dying 3 times to realize that. So my plan was the same as Parl, break each limb in order, but after each limb break, smack the human part of him for extra damage. I started off with the right side of his stomach, then worked my way to his right arm, and then to his left arm. And with that, he went down with no issues. Afterwards, I heard there was a psychotic crack dealer in a castle, and I had to just check this shit out for myself.
No, we shall not abandon the dream. No one can catch us. No one can stop us now.
Yep, definitely on crack. The Mikolash fight was going well until he squirted all over my face with his tentacles. Sometimes you gotta take one in the face to move up in life. During our rematch, I was able to show him the true power of the Pimp Slap, and by Pimp Slap, I mean the backhand of this metal cane caving in his head. With Mikolash out of business, I can take on his boss, Murgo's Wet Nurse. But I needed to do a few things first before that. I proceeded to pick up a Tempering Damp Blood Gem, drop a Giant Brain Thing, pick up a Blood Rock where said Giant Brain Thing was, upgrade my cane to +10, and equip the Tempering Damp Blood Gem. I should also be saying level my skill up to X, but I wasn't thinking at the time and lost all 55,000 echoes trying to get the Blood Rock. See, you don't need to be smart to do these runs, you just need to be hard-headed. But with that hiccup aside, it's finally time for Murgo's Wet Nurse. Unfortunately, I died during the first round due to being caught by her nightmare attack. It can be dodged, I just failed at it this time around. Second round though, I pressured her so hard from behind that my thrust attack was able to make her buckle underneath the pressure, canceling her nightmare attack, which allowed me an easy time to finish her off. After taking care of the Wet Nurse, I decided to visit my lady friends back at the crib, and came across every pimp's second worst nightmare, a newborn child. Ariana, what in the hell? Who does this belong to? After Ariana and I had a talk, she left with the child to live happily ever after with the father. Don't ask where I got the umbilical cord from. With that crisis averted, I leveled my skill up to 54. With Ibridus, Logarius, and the DLC bosses coming up, I decided to start collecting the Claw runes. You can get the first one in Central Yharnam by killing this wolf man. He only appears after beating Rom. The second one is acquired by the Claw Hunter in the Yargul Chapel. The tricky part is he has 2 friends that like to stick to him, but I found if you go outside, you can get him to stay while the others reset, which makes it a lot easier to kill him. The third rune is in a Chalice dungeon, so I decided not to do that for this run because I don't think it's necessary to go through that much trouble for it. After acquiring the runes, I head to Upper Cathedral Ward to take on Celestial Emissary and Ibridus. So, I got hurt before taking on the Celestial Emissaries and thought I would be fine. I was indeed not fine. I ended up missing 1 too many attacks and ended up getting stepped on. But the second round, I was able to beat them in a matter of seconds. I won't lie, I did get scared for a second when I thought I did kill them, but the damn thing got the magic pixel, and I was worried I would get 2-shotted, but luckily that didn't happen. With Celestial Emissary out of the way, I could take on Ibridus, Daughter of the Cosmos. Fortunately for me, Ibridus is weak to thrusting. Unfortunately for me, she is thick as hell, and not in a good way. I kept getting smacked left and right by her hitboxes, and for the life of me, I couldn't get her head to break. But finally, after 13 tries of persistently asking her, she finally gave me head. and for her reward was the 2 best pumps a chump could ever give. Oh, also, I was able to no-hit her, so that was cool. After finishing on Abretus, I made my way to the Nightmare Frontier to take on Amygdala, but ran into a bit of a problem. I died trying to get across the poison landscape and ran out of antidotes. So I decided let's learn a speedrunner skip. For those who do not know, you can skip the poison area with the elevator shortcut. Now there are multiple ways to do this, which I failed at immaculately, but after 23 minutes and 45 seconds, I finally pulled it off. The easiest way I found to do it is to walk to the edge as close as possible, turn around, and then use the gesture to sit, and immediately afterwards quit out. And if you did everything right, you will load at the bottom of the elevator. Was it worth the 23 minutes to learn? Yeah, I think so. After becoming a pro speedrunner, it was Amygdala time. Dying to Amygdala was also not on my bingo card. Second round was a lot better. Amygdala is a pretty chill boss. All you have to do is wait for him to do an attack that lowers his head, and then thrust at it to the point you can visceral it. Once in his third stage, just run under his leg to force him to do a jump attack. I personally like to back up a good bit and then roll into the attack for an easy head hit. And with that, you can no-hit Amygdala. With Amygdala dealt with, I was ready to take over Cainhurst and rename it a Cainhurst. And for me to do that, I have to take on Pimp Daddy Logarius. I honestly thought I had him in the first round, but he got a 2 combo off on me, which then led to a decent death streak. I did find out in his first phase you can walk behind his scythe attack and get an easy backstab off, so that was cool to learn. For my winning attempt, all I did was stay to his left for both phases and made sure to backstab him during his transformation. Now, I did get lucky that at the beginning of his second phase, he went for a jump attack, which I was able to roll under and get another backstab. And as stated before, I stayed to the left and killed him with some well-timed hits. Another no-hit kill. The damage up top is from the fall damage you get from getting here. Very stupid that they do that. After taking over Cainhurst and renaming it a Cainhurst, I leveled my skill up to 58 and make my way to the DLC area. And first up on my list is Ludwig the Accursed. But before taking him on, I made sure to get the level 2 Moon Rune for more XP. Honestly, I was flabbergasted at how well this fight went. During the first phase, I only got hit once and was lucky enough to rally most of it back. But with well-timed dodges, I was able to easily get Ludwig to his second phase. Now, for his second phase, I like to dodge to his right while not being locked on. The only attack that needs to be rolled through twice is his double slash attack. Now, I ended up attacking when I shouldn't have and got punished for it, but was able to get into his crotch and repressure him for a chest break and then visceral. Afterwards, he did his usual charge attack, which I made sure to recover from and run behind. Once behind him, I did a full R1 combo, then a single R1, then a charge R2 to stun him. With the stun in place, I go for the first try kill. If y'all didn't know already, each weapon in Bloodborne has a combo damage multiplier. Rusty has a great video explaining this. If you want a more in-depth understanding of this, the link will be in the description down below. After miraculously first trying Ludwig, I run straight to the Living Failures to become one myself, to then redeem myself in the second round. With the Living Failures out of the way, it's time for Dami Mommy Maria, every pimp's third worst nightmare, an independent woman. And she had no issues giving me a pounding of a lifetime. If y'all thought Gascoigne was bad, Lady Maria made him look like a damn cakewalk. Normally, I don't have too many issues with her, but this time around, I wasn't even lasting 30 seconds sometimes. The only thing I can think of is I really relied on healing during this fight and having a lot of stamina. Since I can't use vials, I had to focus on using Rally. The downside to this is Lady Maria will run away most of the time, so I couldn't get it back, or I only got a little bit back. And when making it to her second or third phase with half health is basically a death sentence. For stamina, I fucked up. I could have had more due to the first and second anti-clockwise rune, but I ended up killing Patches, who gives you the second rune out of habit. During my all weapons run after the first cycle, I just killed patches for fun, which now realizing I built a bad habit that fucked me over in this run. Because the 10% stamina increase would have been helpful even if it was only going to give one extra roll or a single attack. Not saying it would have changed much, but maybe Lady Maria wouldn't have bent me over and pegged me 104 times. The consequence of not being able to keep up with her. The way I normally fight Lady Maria is to just dodge to the right in all 3 phases. But I learned from a Lobos Jr. video you can actually backstab her in the 2nd and 3rd phase when she does her charge attacks. Now, funny enough, I never pulled this off, but while explaining this to chat how you're supposed to be able to backstab her this way, I ended up killing her without even realizing it. To be honest, I was a bit mad that I wasn't able to backstab her. I really wanted to pull that off, but as stated earlier, beggars can't be choosers. On the bright side though, I got to finish Dami Mommy Maria off with a good thrust to the back. With Lady Maria defeated and me no longer able to walk properly, it was time for my least favorite boss, Lawrence, the first simp. Now Lawrence is Lawrence, he has giant hitboxes with massive AoEs. I ended up dying to Lawrence 12 times. I know Lawrence's moveset, but I still fuck it up. For this fight, I made sure to change out the claw runes for the guidance rune for the 20% to healing for rallying, and the clockwise rune for 5% more HP. For the fight, all I do in the first phase is stay to his right. If he does his 3-hit combo, just dash into each attack, and the best time to get hits in are after his slam combo and when he falls back to hit you, which only happens if you're on his right side. For phase 2, it's a lot easier just to kite him to the left. If he does his big slam attack, dodge to the left and wait for the second swing and dodge once more to the left and then attack. I would also advise when attacking him in his lava spitting attack to not be locked on. It can drag you to his face since the lock-on system is a tether to the lock-on point. But with those simple things, I was able to beat Lawrence the first simp. After defeating the first simp, I leveled my skill up to 66 to take on Orphan of Kos. I see, reliving the second worst nightmare for a pimp all over again. Starting off, I made sure to re-equip both of the claw runes since I will purely be focusing on visceral damage. So, for Orphan, all I had to do was stay locked off, wait for his jump attack, walk underneath him, backstab him, and then a visceral attack. I then rinse and repeat this until his second phase. I then make sure to get behind him, and right before he lifts his head, do a charge R2 to backstab him to get a visceral attack. During his second phase, there are 2 attacks that can be abused to backstab him. The first one is when he does his consecutive slam attack. Right near the end, he will jump if you are close enough, walk under him, and immediately turn around and backstab him. Now, for me on this run, he just kept doing this, but you can also do this with his other jump attack. Sadly, my last visceral didn't kill, but I was able to finish him off with a pimp slap to the face. And that's how you no-hit, first try, the Orphan of Kos. After beating up a newborn child, I level up to 69. No better level to end this run on with. Before taking on the final boss, I make sure to pop all 3 umbilical cords so that I can take on the biggest pimp of all. But first, I need to take down her apprentice, Gurman, the first pimp. Gurman kicked my ass. For some reason on this run, all the hunters gave me a rough time. The only thing I could figure out for this fight that with having low stamina, it makes it a lot harder to keep pressure on him because usually I just bait out a few attacks and DPS Gurman down to half health, but I was getting punished when trying to do this. So I switched to just one hit and running away, which almost worked a few times, but I got fucked by Gurman's pistol shot that can let him visceral you. On top of that, I started to mix up on which attacks he was going to do, which led to me dying. The worst part is, with having very little health, you want as much of it as possible during his second phase so that you can survive a single hit. So it got frustrating when I would get hit at the beginning of the run to the point I would just say fuck it and let him kill me. It got rough, to be honest. I never struggled this hard before on Gurman. So I did what I had to do and looked up how to backstab this motherfucker. Thanks to a video by Soul Slayer, I found out you can backstab Gurman after his jumping attack by just walking underneath him. Honestly, I should have known from all the other bosses you can do that, but I just never crossed my mind. So I went back in and started practicing the timing for this. To do this right, you have to make sure you're at a medium distance. If you're too close, you'll get hit. If you're too far, you will also get hit. Also, when walking underneath, make sure to walk about 3 steps. Any less than this and you can still get hit. And once behind him, backstab him for a visceral. Now, I would wish to say this was it, but sadly, I ended up dying quite a bit even after learning this. In total, I died 60 times. But it was not in vain because I learned something really cool. On my winning attempt, I found out you can backstab Gurman after he transforms into his second phase. I thought you couldn't do this, but apparently you can. I have only done this once, but from studying the footage, it seems if you start the charge R2 right near the end of his screaming, you can pull this off. But only time will tell if I'm right about this. Sadly, I wasn't able to get a no hit on my winning attempt. Gurman got me again with his damn pistol shot. But luckily for me, I had full HP to survive the attack. Now, I could explain the rest, but I think it would be more fun if y'all just feel the stress like I did during this moment. Enjoy. And with that, Gurman, the first pimp, goes down. That only leads his mentor, his shining light, Moon Presence. So normally we all just DPS down Moon Presence, but that didn't work out for me so well. I ended up dying to her 19 times. To be honest, I had no clue what killed me 90% of the time. Her moves were so sporadic, I didn't know what to do. So I took the old school approach to this one. Just keep attacking until she somehow dies. You might be thinking that can't work. Well, the proof is in the pudding because that's all I did each attempt, and on the 20th try, I won. It was all luck because if I didn't get the head break near the end, I have no clue if I would have won the fight. Now, should I have actually learned the fight? Yeah. Did I want to at this moment? No. But with that said, the big pimp in the sky finally goes down. I have fulfilled my final requirement to become a true pimp and enter pimphood. With Snoop Kane earning the title of pimp and earning his gun, who knows what is next for our lovable pimp of Yharnam? Will he do a gun-only run? Will he ever find love? Will Scully ever stop going for that booty? Find out on the next exciting episode of Pimps of Yharnam. Woo! Alright, that was one hell of a run, but I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot from it. With that said, I really want to thank my channel supporters. If you too would like to support the channel or have your name in the video, you can click the Patreon link in the description or the YouTube join button. I also want to thank everyone who came out to support the streams. I really appreciated all the support, especially when it got rough. And I want to thank all of you for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. And with that said, until next time, take care.